Hello again. This is the Prestin Sexton podcast. I'm Gabriel Sexton.
Yo, I'm Preston.
And today we're bringing you an Olympic-inspired top 5 favorite sports movies. Preston, what do you think? We got a good show in store today or what?
Oh, hell yes. We do every week. What do you mean?
Hey, every show is good. Not every show is great.
Well, except the Eternals episode. Not a fan of that one.
You don't like that one?
Nah, I don't.
That's on you. I liked it. I like the experience of that we stayed up till like midnight. And it was like, oh.
Yeah, you could tell we stayed up until like midnight.
We were out of it that day. We were out of it. Well, what do you think? You want to get into your honorable mentions?
I think you should go. I'll let you go first.
Oh, you'll let me?
If you have an honorable mention.
Okay, I do. I put Remember the Titans honorable mention.
As an honorable mention?
Yeah.
Damn, this list is going to be interesting.
I wouldn't say these are my 5 best sports movies. These are my 5 favorite sports movies.
We don't want to talk about the best. We want to talk about, like, our favorites.
Right. I'm like, this is an opinion-based podcast.
Yeah.
I think if you want to find a podcast that talks about the best.
If you want to just watch it, if you want to listen to people talk about whatever the best ones are, just go watch Mojo.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Okay, here's a great opinion. Watch Mojo is, like, if they say something's a top 10 thing, it is. Like, this is fact.
Debatable. I've seen some pretty bad top 10s from them.
They have some pretty great ones. I like to go down the rabbit hole of, like, their stupid, like, alien mysteries or shit like that. Anywho, honorable mention, Remember the Titans. Pretty great movie. Talks about racial divide in a football program with Denzel Washington. So the movie's automatically pretty good.
Did you see that commercial where Julian was in it? The Super Bowl commercial?
Yeah. Oh, have you ever watched Scrubs before? No. Okay. Because it's, I can't remember what his name is now. But it's him and Zach Braff in the commercial. And they were on the show called Scrubs, and his name was Turk.
Yeah, I know what Scrubs is. Yeah, I know what Scrubs is.
I'm an avid fan of Scrubs. I grew up watching Scrubs. I love Scrubs.
I was about to say, because I was just watching the Super Bowl this last weekend. Like, I'm chilling. I'm like, where's that guy? Where have I seen that guy before? And I had thought about it. I'm like, yo, that's Jules.
That's funny. Yeah, I can't remember what his name is, but I knew he was Turk on Scrubs with JD. Anywho, what's your honorable mention?
One of my honorable mentions is Happy Gilmore.
Oh, true.
Love Happy Gilmore. It's funny. It's probably Adam Sandler's best movie.
Saying something. That's saying something.
Well, kind of, because he's had a lot of, like, pretty good movies, but he's also had a lot of bad.
I do like Happy Gilmore. I've probably seen Happy Gilmore like 4 or 5 times.
It's like the perfect movie if you just want to, like, turn your brain off.
I've always watched it, like, it'll be 10 in the morning in the summer. I always watch it on a Saturday. I'm like, Happy Gilmore.
Yeah, why not? I just like it. You know, you got Adam Sandler, who's a freaking hockey player, just taking, like, 100-mile-an-hour slappers.
Absolute nukes.
And he's just like, he sucks at hockey besides being able to take a slap shot, so he's like, let's just play let's just bet these people in golf and see how far I can hit the ball. I mean, just the comedy moments are just unmatched.
Shooter.
Yeah, you got one of the best sports villains of all time, and Shooter McGavin. You got the perfect product placement of Subway, which is one of my favorite product placements in Subway, where he's like, that's where he becomes a sponsor by Subway.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
You got Chubbs.
Hey, Bob Barker.
Yeah, you have like one of the best cameos ever of Bob Barker just beating the piss out of him.
That is funny. I like that. Bob Barker.
The price is wrong, bitch.
That is pretty funny. I do like that. Bob Barker, great, maybe one of the best cameos ever in a movie.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. Plus, he's like, it's just funny how he just attracted all the rednecks to golf.
I'm trying to think of, like, who is the real life Happy Gilmore.
John Daly.
Yeah, true.
John
Just
Daly.
ripping a cig.
It's John Daly.
At the mall, you can get like a signed poster from him, and it's got like a cigarette under it. I swear, yeah, I remember seeing that at the mall.
Was it smoked by him or what?
I hope so. Just a goddamn 20-year-old cigarette. The picture frame. That's funny. Yeah, no, big fan.
All right, do you have another honorable mention?
I don't. Do you?
Yeah, I have 2 honorable mentions.
Okay.
My other honorable mention is $1 Million Baby.
I've never seen it, but I know I'm pretty sure it's about a boxer.
It's directed by Clint Eastwood. Clint Eastwood's like not like supporting, like basically was a supporting actor. And it was Emily Blunt, I think.
I think you're thinking of Reese.
Hilary Duff.
Oh,
Hilary Duff. It was Hilary Duff. Plays a boxer who's like kind of comes from like a broken home type thing. You know, Clint Eastwood's playing his same character he's played for 30 years of just a gritty old guy who has to open his heart to someone. He trains her to become a boxer. She becomes really good. Tragedy strikes, and that's about all I'm going to talk about because I don't want to spoil it for anyone because it's a pretty sad movie. One of the few movies I've teared up watching. Definitely, I think it was a Best Picture winner. One of the few sports movies that have won Best Picture. Yeah, it's just a great tear-jerking movie.
Sorry, do you hear someone banging on the doors out there?
I wish whoever was out in the hallway would stop banging on doors.
I was like,
gotta love living in a college dorm.
Yeah, I think it really adds to the whole college dorm ASMR. You're like, hey, bang on the doors. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Like this.
Oh no, I was
obnoxious.
done talking anyway.
It was obnoxious.
This knocking is obnoxious. Just open the damn door.
Like, okay. They're like, well, if you knock
you want to
go
yell at them quick? Just kidding.
Hey, shut up!
We're filming here.
I'm like, I'm filming. I'm like, come on, man. Hey, that beats the time I walked out and there's a cop sitting right outside the door.
Yeah.
That
wasn't for me. They were just chilling.
Yeah, it was very weird. I'm like, huh? Because I was sitting there, standing there talking to you. I looked out. I'm like, a cop right there.
Just nothing going on here, officer.
I'm like, just 2 dudes recording a podcast, officer. I'm like, it's just normal, man. It's just normal.
You don't see this every day?
I'm like, what? We're just doing stuff. All right. I'm going to get into my number 5. Moneyball. Moneyball number 5, not even a doubt.
Respectable.
Yup, and it would be higher. The other movies I just like more. And Moneyball is like the go-to, like if you have some guy at your house, ladies, take my advice, heed my advice. If you have a guy at your house and you don't know what to watch and you suggest Moneyball, you are getting treated. Like, you are going to get treated because that is a top 10 movie for just about every male.
Yeah, I mean, it's the perfect baseball movie. It just eclipses why people like baseball.
I think it somehow clips, like, the male need for stats and numbers and movies and sports together all in one.
It's the perfect movie for people who want to go into sports, especially sports broadcasting and analytics, where you got to learn the sports analytics.
You do. That's why I'm a big fan of Moneyball. We watched in my stats class my junior year because it was all seniors as the only junior. So it was just me watching Moneyball.
But Gabe, here's the question. Could you get on base?
I could get on base. My defect is that I throw weird. That's my defect.
So, yeah, I didn't throw weird.
Well, you played baseball. I didn't play baseball.
Well, how did you know you could get on base then?
I'm quick. I'm pretty wiry. Oh, honorable mention. Forgot to mention The Replacements.
Never seen it.
Pretty great. There's a kicker and he's Scottish and he's ripping a cig on the field. And they're like, what's so special about you? And he goes, I'm wiry.
And I gotta say, like, Moneyball, one of the few movies that actually gets, like, sports action scenes somewhat pretty decent. Like, have you noticed that in sports movies, a lot of, like, the team action sequences are just terrible?
Try to watch High School Musical without, I don't know.
I refuse to watch High School Musical because I've seen the frickin' basketball being played. It's like,
We should watch High School Musical for a podcast.
If I lost a basketball game to guys singing and dancing on the court, I would just quit. I'd just retire from basketball.
Imagine that, but in baseball. I know how hardcore you take baseball.
If that ever happens, I'll just shoot myself.
You'll just die. Just die. Like,
cause wait, no, it kind of did happen.
What?
They played baseball in Twilight. And it was kind of cringy.
That is true. Well, it was actually, I think it was kind of a smart concept, though, where they're like, oh, we can only play baseball if there's a storm coming in, so that way it sounds like thunder. Like,
dumb.
How many times have you ever seen Twilight, Preston?
I haven't seen Twilight.
How many times I've seen Twilight?
Huh.
Take a guess. What do you put I put the over-under at 1.5. Are you taking the over or the under?
I'm taking the over.
I am hammering the over if I were you.
Why would you set the over-under at 1.5 then?
Because maybe once implies I've only seen it once. The over is... I didn't want to say 2.5 because...
That just expose you even more.
Yeah, I'm like, can't you say 2? That's a whole number. Yeah, I think I've seen Twilight 3 times in my life.
Jeez. Why?
Well, it's something to watch.
Yeah, but there's so many better options.
Are there better, worse options? Like, you talk about a bad movie that's fun to watch. Twilight's up there. That and Barnyard. My Barnyard enthusiasts, where you at? Where you at?
I mean, I guess.
Speaking of, we drunk watched Barnyard last weekend.
Oh, Jesus.
Horrific. My friend Luke Persons doesn't listen to this, but I know his girlfriend does. But he's like, what is the point of this movie?
Yo, what's his name?
Luke Persons.
Yo, Luke, be more like your girlfriend.
Yeah, be more like Lexi. Come on, I'm like, be more like her. But oh my God, yeah, he's like, the point of this movie is to be cool and tough. Like, yeah, I'm like, true. It's Moneyball, like the male experience all in one.
It's the perfect baseball movie.
I'm telling you, ladies.
It's not the best baseball movie, but it's the perfect baseball movie.
It might be the quintessential man movie.
I could see that up there with Die Hard and Top Gun.
I almost made a list in my private story that was like, dude movies for movie dudes. Just and that like Moneyball's up there. You can't.
You got like Pulp Fiction, Wolf of Wall Street, like.
The Revenant.
Those are bro movies right there.
Any Leonardo DiCaprio movie where he's a man.
Yeah, because he's not technically a man in Titanic.
Yeah, he's a little man-child in that. Like, he's not... I read a theory that he wasn't real in that, but that's a whole other thing.
It was directed by a sci-fi guy, so it's very possible.
James Cameron.
Or like a fantasy guy. Like how he's like a time traveler and shit. It has to die to make sure the Titanic goes down or something like that.
Okay, that's a little off the wall, off the cuff.
It's actually a pretty like good theory. Like if you
buy into it.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, it is James Cameron.
Fair enough.
Like Titanic is like the complete opposite of everything else James Cameron's ever done.
That's true. Because he does like Avatar, Terminator.
Yeah, like he's a sci-fi guy.
That's true. I suppose. I buy into that a little bit.
Okay. Should I hop into my number 5?
Let's do it.
My number 5 is Creed.
Okay.
Like, I don't, like, in my opinion, Creed's better than any of the Rocky movies.
That's a bold take.
I think it is, but it's not.
Okay.
I think there's a lot of people who like Creed more than Rocky.
What would you say is more iconic?
Well, Rocky.
Right.
Obviously.
Okay. I'm like, doesn't make it a better movie.
Yeah, it doesn't make it a better movie. It just makes it more iconic. I actually like Creed more than Rocky. I mean, Michael B. Jordan's great in it. I mean, you're still getting Rocky as kind of like the old, like, guy who's seen a lot and now has to, like, teach the next generation. You got, like, Tessa Thompson's great in it. You got... That's about it, yeah, but, like, for big-name guys... But I just love this movie. It's like a perfect quintessential of like creating your own legacy, but also embracing your like your past legacy.
Be a trailblazer.
Yeah. I mean, I just love it because he kind of like, you know, he's wanting to make it on his own without the Creed name. All of a sudden, it leaks that he's a Creed, so the boxing world's like, oh my God, we're getting the guy who fought Rocky. and was one of the greatest boxers of all time, died in the ring. And it kind of just adds on to the whole Rocky universe in a great way. Creed 2, just as good. Don't understand why it's hated. You brought the Russian back and made it a realistic character.
I've seen the first Creed. I didn't watch the second one, but
I haven't seen Creed 4, and I think that's what he was in, if I'm not mistaken.
Was it Creed 2? How many Creeds are there?
Or not at Creed 4. I mean Rocky 4.
Rocky 4. No, I've seen all the Rockies. Believe it or not.
Was it Rocky 4 where he fought the Russian?
Ivan Drago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great villain.
Yeah, talk about iconic 80s, 90s movie villains.
If he dies, he dies.
I do. Kirk paraphrase that.
Oh, Jesus.
If I die, I die. Plexiglass stocks. Up. Oh, Kirk. That's a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
Love him.
You want to hop into your number 4?
Yeah, Cool Runnings. Talk about an iconic 90s Disney movie.
So you're taking a 90s Disney movie and you're taking Cool Runnings over the Mighty Ducks?
Yeah.
That's a hot take.
I think Cool Runnings, you think about what a weird era for Disney movies was the late 90s, early 2000s.
Also, remember the Titans was a 90s sports Disney movie.
Yeah, what were they doing? What were they on? It's so weird. They made these live action sports. Do you remember Game Plan? The Game Plan?
Yeah, that was 2000s.
No, yeah, but I'm just saying they have a weird sort of hard on for that sort of stuff.
Miracle. When was that? I think that was
early 2000s.
I think that was 2001.
I was going to say 2001.
So it's not a 90s.
Somewhere between 98 and 2002.
Damn, Disney was actually making some pretty good sports movies back in the day.
One of my next one, my number 3 one, is a lesser known Disney sports movie, but I love. I'm sure you've seen it before.
Okay, let's go back to your number 4.
Number 4, Cool Runnings, John Candy, the Jamaican bobsled team.
Such a ridiculous concept.
But it's real. That actually happened.
I know.
Yeah, I think it's worth talking about because, this episode is inspired by the Olympics. Screw the Russians. Don't like the Russians.
I don't like the Chinese either.
Whoa, that's racist.
No, it's not.
Why don't you like the Chinese?
Because the Chinese are racist. The Chinese government is racist.
Yeah? They like Hong Kong people. They love them. Nothing happened in 1989 at a certain square. Nothing happened.
Yeah, we did not kill all those Muslims.
He's like, hey, we did not run people over with tanks.
They just disappeared.
It's they went bye-bye. They migrated.
But back on to the topic. We don't need to get into
Cool
politics.
Runnings.
We don't need to get into politics.
Cool Runnings. I just like it.
It's a fun movie.
Again, it's not a great movie. It's not a top 5 greatest sports movie ever. No, this is.
But it's just his
one of my favorites.
One of his favorites.
It's one of my favorites. Number 4.
I remember the first time I watched that was in elementary school. I just turned it on in school one day. It's I think that's one of the quintessential movies
school
you watch
movies.
in school.
I'm trying to think. We would always. Do you remember 8 Below or whatever? It was It was Paul Walker, and he was part of a research team in Antarctica, and he lost his dog sled team, and they survived. Something I don't know. Watch that one. There's another one with Aborigines and Martin Freeman. I don't remember what that one was called.
Well, my number 4 is Moneyball. I went with Moneyball at number 4.
Fair enough.
Because I love Moneyball.
There's no man that
it does the thing I like doing most with baseball, and that's just looking at a bunch of no-name players and being okay, are they actually good or not?
That movie made...
I can't tell you how many times I've just been sitting there and I'm you know what? I'm just gonna find the most no-name baseball players in the MLB. I'm gonna look at their stats and I'm gonna decide if they're gonna be a future star or not, or a good player. Yeah, that's my life.
I do the same thing with random early 2000s football players. I think of I thought of Lafa Tatupu the other day. He's a Pro Bowl linebacker for the Seahawks.
Really?
Yeah, Lafa Tatupu.
You know who my favorite random football player is?
Who?
Nafahu Tahi.
Vikings fullback, number 38, 2009. Got it locked like a human Wikipedia.
12 men on the field.
Nafahu Tahi.
I love Nafahu Tahi.
Yeah, he's pretty classic Vikings fullback.
Or just Toby Gerhart.
I've met Toby Gerhart before.
Real lucky you.
I'll send you a snap. I have a picture in my room of me with Toby Gerhart. Because when the Menards opened up here, you could meet either Jermichael Finley or you could go meet Toby Gerhart.
Good choice with Toby Gerhart.
Yeah, Toby Gerhart's arms were the size of a goddamn tree.
I will say, though, it's kind of funny how they were like, hey, we're going to get Toby Gerhart or this other dude. And they're like, we know they want to see, Adrian Peterson or, Brett Favre, but we're just going to send Toby Gerhart.
They're like, do you want Jermichael Finley? I wish they would have sent Chris Cook.
That'd been jokes.
You think Eli Apple gets flamed? Chris Cook was a joke around here. He was terrible.
The thing was, Eli Apple really wasn't that bad this year. He was pretty good.
No, he had a good year. People were just flaming him because he talked shit.
He scored they threw 2 touchdowns on him in the...
You defend Cooper Kupp then. I can't.
It's
literally impossible.
It's literally everyone's been torched by Cooper Kupp this year.
I knew we were going to get into sports. No.
Well, it's a sports movie, so of course we're going to talk about sports.
One of my favorite stats is the Super Bowl. I think it was Cooper Kupp's 4th worst game.
Yeah, he won Super Bowl.
He was the MVP. That's why I'm Cooper Kupp has been unguardable this year.
Let's get back on topic.
Yeah, I knew we would get into sports.
We're talking about Moneyball. Somehow we got into football instead of baseball when talking about Moneyball. But yeah, just love Moneyball. It's the perfect sports analytical movie. I love sports statistics. I'll sometimes just text my dad screenshots of baseball reference of just crazy stats. Yo, did you know Barry Bonds has more walks than more intentional walks than the Rays' entire franchise?
If you ever get really bored, do you ever watch those SB Nation, the weird rules?
Of course.
Dude, I was talking to my friend Mitch the other day. He's that is a rite of passage for every man to go to the Secret Base YouTube channel and just start watching random shit.
You know what's the other perfect sports YouTube page? What? 5-point vids.
Oh, I love 5-point vids where they're why do coaches get fired? And they list them out.
Or hey, we're just gonna talk about our top 10, just weird sports stadiums.
Yes. You know, my absolute favorite, and it's not even close. Urinating Tree. Guy's an absolute dipshit.
Guy's a joke.
But he's funny.
He's funny.
He's here's your hater's guide to the hockey finals or whatever.
Then he rips your team, and you're just oh.
I love when he calls Big Ben Roethlisberger Captain Fat. Have you ever seen that video?
Yes.
Yeah. He's the Steelers. He's by God, they're in the playoffs. Oh, I love Urinating Tree.
Alrighty, you want to hop into your number 3?
Number 3, The Rookie. Not a well-known.
Good movie, though.
Great movie. It has Dennis Quaid as, I forget what his name was, not memorable, but he was a baseball coach. He was a baseball player. He tore his
45-year-old, right?
His story's amazing. I'll just walk you through the concept here because it's a true story that this guy, he blew out his arm trying to get into the majors, and they surgically repaired his arm. And that was in a time where, if you blew out your arm, you're done.
If you had Tommy John surgery, your career is practically over.
He was over, right. And so he coaches this baseball team, turns him around, a high school baseball team, and they're like, well, if we win the finals, coach, you got to at least try out. And so they end up I think they go, and he ends up trying out, and he's throwing 90 miles an hour, 96 or something like that. Just unreal. And he was 40-something?
Yeah, I think he was 42 maybe.
He was only something in the league. He was an actual pitcher, and he was only in there for 2 or 3 years. But I'm okay, he proved it to himself he could do it.
Yeah,
I mean it's an amazing story.
Further than I ever got.
Yeah, no, I think it's I always remember the part where he's throwing through the signs are you're going this fast, and he was throwing a ball through there.
Yeah,
and it says 76, and then he's a little defeated, and then the 9 comes in and it says 96, Like, oh, it's just unreal.
Bro, how do you like throw a 96 mile an hour pitch and you're like, only 76? Like, I'm sad. It's like
it came up as 76.
You could tell the difference between a 96 mile an hour pitch and a 76 mile an hour pitch.
He thought he didn't have it. He just legitimately thought he didn't have it.
I threw 76. I'd be able to tell if a guy was throwing 96 mile an hour.
I think that story though is just actually nuts. And like, I think he played for the Rays the majority of his career.
Something like that.
He had pretty good numbers. He put up. I'm like, okay, he's a decent pitcher. Like, he wasn't anyone to. I think he played for the Brewers too.
He's probably just a good relief pitcher.
He was. I think that's what he was.
The guy
he was a good relief.
Give him like the eighth. You know he wasn't gonna screw up.
No, you think he can only go for like 2 or 3 innings.
Yeah, I mean, he was old.
Sorry about that.
Alrighty. My number 3, I got Remember the Titans.
Okay. Alright.
There's a couple of reasons I love this movie. One, it depicts like perfect racial tensions of like the 1960s. I mean, that's one prospect I love about it. 2, Denzel. Who doesn't love Denzel? If you don't love Denzel, don't talk to me.
What you doing?
Number 3, the actors. Like all the players, like cast perfectly. Like there's the big dude. You got Julian. You got left side, right side. And then you got like. I played on a football team called the Titans, so that's another thing I liked.
Can you do the song? I'll do it with you if you want.
Oh God.
Who we are, so we tell them. We are the Titans, the mighty, mighty Titans. I don't remember.
Something like that.
I swear, like something along those lines.
I just love that movie. It's like for me, it's the football movie.
Yeah, well, I got one that's better.
Debatable, but
do you know which one I'm talking about?
No.
Well, it's my number 2. It's my number 2.
Okay. I'll just let you hop into your number 2.
Okay. Yeah. The Blind Side.
I'm sorry. Remember the Titans is better.
I like The Blind Side better. I understand Remember the Titans is a better movie. I just like The Blind Side better.
Yeah, I used to be a Blind Side junkie when I was a kid.
Dude, I watched that movie probably like 5-6 times in my life.
5-6? That's it? I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna lie, I probably watched that movie 20 times when I was a kid.
I had a purple iPod Nano. Do you remember those?
Yeah.
And like you had to like scroll down. You had to circle the thing.
I know an iPod Nano. Yeah.
Yep. And I had that downloaded on my iPod Nano.
You had the movie?
I had the movie downloaded on my iPod. So wherever we went, like that was my go-to movie when we traveled. So I mean, when I say like 7 times, it was like double digits probably.
It's a pretty good movie.
It is pretty good. Sandra Bullock's so fine. Not in that movie.
Ageless.
Dude, her in the 90s was something else, man. Something else. She was a different beast. She could get it. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Okay, Gabe. Settle down.
I'm sorry. She's just so, I don't know.
MILF. I'm just kidding.
Dude, her in the 90s, she was a different, she had bangs. I'm not even like super into bangs. It just works on her. It just works.
Okay, this got weird.
Dude, what do you think of bangs? What do you think of bangs?
We're not talking about this.
No. Scale of 1 to 10. Like, do you genuinely like bangs on a woman?
Depends on the person. That's the thing. Depends on the
bangs
person.
In generally don't work.
Yeah, I can agree with that. It just depends on the person.
So, in some people, I'm like, oh wow, like Zooey Deschanel, I cannot picture her without bangs.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's impossible. It doesn't work. Impossible. What's your number 2?
My number 2 is Miracle. For me, this is like the Disney sports movie. Like, I just love this movie. I mean, you got like Americans beating down commies. Like, what's not to like about that? It's like the greatest underdog story in sports. It's hockey. Who doesn't love hockey? It's like, it's based in Minnesota. It's based upon like the Minnesota Gophers hockey coach, Herb Brooks. Like, every Minnesotan knows Herb Brooks.
Yeah. Agreed. But I'm not from Minnesota.
Yeah. You weren't cool enough. You weren't cool enough for the club.
Up in Eveleth and Gilbert, they have the college USA, like the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
The USA team.
It's just, for me, this is like the underdog story in sports, and it beats any of the other underdog stories in sports. Cause this, like in sports movies, because this one was real. Like,
right.
You seriously had a bunch of amateur hockey players playing the best hockey team in the world.
Hot take. I think Al Michaels' call at the end is the most iconic.
The best sports call in sports.
I can't think of a better one.
Like,
I can't think of a more
you.
iconic one.
Anytime I see the replay of that call, I just get goosebumps.
I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about Al Michaels. Do you believe in miracles? Yes!
And then everyone just freaks out. It's like, I just love this movie. Like, I've probably this is probably the movie I've probably seen the most in my life.
Really?
Yes. I can't tell you how many times I've watched this movie.
I've seen the Mighty Ducks 2 quite a bit.
I
don't even like Mighty Ducks.
Oh, I love Mighty Ducks.
I remember the first Mighty Ducks. I don't know why I watched the second one like on repeat.
The Mighty Ducks 2 kind of sucks. So.
Yeah, it kind of does.
Mighty Ducks 1 is so much better. But yeah, I mean, just Miracle. There's nothing to dislike about this. You got the best locker room speech of all time. You got the best underdog story of all time. You got one of the best, like, just sports coaches of all time. It's like, there's just nothing to dislike about this movie. It's like perfect.
Borderline.
I mean, like, my opinion, one of the most underrated castings of all time. Like,
Kurt Russell
literally looks like Herb Brooks.
Yeah, he does. Sounds like him.
He looks more like Herb Brooks than Herb Brooks does. That makes sense.
That does make sense. That does make a lot of sense. All right, you ready for the all-time GOAT? And
yes.
It's not even close. And I don't think you put it down, and you're going to feel like an idiot.
What?
Major League.
I considered Major League.
And you didn't put it down at all?
Because I got the best baseball movie next.
Well, I'm just saying, Major League, Charlie Sheen, Arsenio Hall. I'm trying to think of it. It's not like a big name movie, but it is like one of the funniest movies. It's like a top 5 comedy to me. It's great. Major League. You may run like Mays, but you hit like shit. I love the coach. You're like, you want to come coach the Cleveland Indians? When they were the Indians. He's like, I don't know. I got a guy in the other line.
Could you really blame the owner? Who the frick wants to live in Cleveland?
Baker Mayfield. Not Odell Beckham.
Yeah, Baker Mayfield might not be living in Cleveland for much
longer. He might be living in Minnesota. I'm
scared.
I'm like, Mom, I want to go home. I'm like, Mom, come get me. They're trying to get Baker Mayfield. I want to go home.
I will say, though, I'll happily take Baker Mayfield over Kirk next year. Like, Baker Mayfield's not better than Kirk, but he's a hell of a lot cheaper.
Dude, he's a dog. Like, every time I watch Baker Mayfield,
everyone's
like, he's a dog.
Everyone's like, oh, I hate his personality. Like, he was playing football for Oklahoma and looked at the sideline and grabbed his crotch. It's like, dude, that's hilarious.
I'm like, that is the most anti-Kirk thing to maybe ever happen.
Yeah, it's like, dude, you need an alpha male at your quarterback.
Kirk is the, like, I don't even want to get into the alpha versus beta.
Kirk is 100% a beta male.
He's a beta male. Yeah. You're like, well, do you want to come coach the Vikings? Kevin O'Connell. I don't know. I got a guy in the other line talking to me about white walls.
I don't know. Harold McVay might be retiring.
I was panicking. The other day. I was like, I hope he doesn't McDaniels us.
I swear to God.
I was getting pissed off. I'm like, dude, this should have been out the next day.
Prestin Sexton Sports Podcast coming soon.
Dude, we talk about sports movies. This is inevitable. We just start talking about sports.
Yeah.
But Major League, one of my favorite. I've probably seen that movie a ton. I remember when Cleveland went to the World Series, they were trying to get Charlie Sheen to be the one to throw out the first pitch. I thought like that would have been
That'd
cool.
been like the perfect scenario. You'd have Wild Thing playing.
Yeah, exactly.
That'd be
Wild
perfect.
Thing. I think yeah. Oh, I love that movie. I could literally talk for hours about the amount of times I've seen.
So who's your
movie.
favorite character in that movie?
The coach. He's funny.
He's
funny. He's like,
You may look like maze, but you may run like maze, but you hit like shit.
There's a lot of iconic quotes. Let's go win the whole goddamn thing. He doesn't say goddamn. Doesn't say that.
We don't wanna have to hit this with the explicit label.
Yeah, I've got kind of a potty mouth. It all stemmed from that time my brother was just egging me on here, and I got pissed off. Because I said something.
That was his super villain origin story.
That was my origin story. Because I was literally
we need to get brother Caleb back on this podcast.
It was funny because I was in the truck and I mentioned my idea, and he's like, "That's actually not a bad idea." And I got in here.
And he goes, "I just rips it."
He's like, "What are you, stupid?" I'm like,
"What?"
I'm like, "That was a 180."
You were just flabbergasted.
I was hornswoggled. I got apoplectic about the whole thing. Those are two big words.
Yeah, Mr. Smarty Pants over here.
My mom was an English major. I need to make sure to toss that in every time.
Alrighty, I'm gonna hop into my number one. And my number one is the best baseball movie, The Sandlot.
See, I've never seen it.
Like, this is like, for like any kid who grew up playing baseball, this movie is somewhat relatable. Like, just going out playing baseball with your buddies. And it's like, for me, it's like the summer movie. Like, it's the movie that if it's the middle of summer, if it's the 4th of July.
4th of July.
This is the movie you're gonna throw on. And I know it because I watched this movie on this last 4th of July.
Fair enough.
Like, for me, it's the baseball movie. It's something almost any kid who grew up watching baseball can relate to at some point. It has one of the best movie villains and hyphen marks of all time, the Beast. You got James Earl Jones. It's just perfect. I love this movie. It's the perfect blend of sports, comedy, and like just relatability for me. And I mean, I don't think there's a more iconic sports movie.
I do have to say, Field of Dreams is pretty iconic, but
it's like
it's kind of overrated.
Everyone has said, "You're killing me, Smalls."
Probably, yeah.
And I mean, like the whole scene with him pretending to drown.
I've never seen the movie.
Oh,
I've never seen it.
Bro, what?
I do think Field of Dreams might be one of the most iconic sports movies.
It's not more iconic though than The Sandlot.
I know, but think about this.
I think I know the movie we're watching after this.
Maybe.
No, it's my choice.
It is your choice.
You have no say.
Mom said it was your turn, so. I will say this. Field of Dreams caused the MLB to literally have a game, in a cornfield.
You know what they're calling out for people to do now? Play a baseball game at a sandlot.
I think it's cool. It's a neat way to brand yourself. Of like, keep it small. That was like one of the better games of the season too that they did 2 years ago. Was the Field of Dreams game, and they came out of the corn.
Last season.
Was it last season?
Yeah, this last season.
I swear it was like 2 years ago.
I think it was just last season.
I just remember it was cool because they came out of like the cornfields, and I'm like, oh, that's really cool.
The only thing is that we had to watch the Yankees play.
I think it was the Yankees and the Sox, wasn't it?
White Sox, yes.
Was it White Sox? I thought it was the Red Sox.
It's like, you should have brought the Twins out there. That's
yeah,
Iowa's Twins country.
That is true. It is true. I bet the tickets for that game were
ridiculous.
Yeah, I bet.
Completely ridiculous. But I mean, you got to see him play at the Field of Dreams, so it's like.
It's not one of my favorite sports movies, but it is, I think, one of the more iconic ones.
Yeah, definitely.
Kevin Costner made his money off of those movies.
Kevin Costner just does sports movies, I swear to God.
I wanted to watch Bull Durham one day. but I didn't get to. I felt like an idiot.
Alrighty, Gabe. So now we're gonna hop into our next subject. What have you been watching?
What have I been watching? Well, I watched Dune for the first time last night.
What'd you think?
Very, very good. I didn't like that I was very, very... They kind of dropped you like right in the middle of a story. And I'm a big fan of show, don't tell. But it was there was so much going on that was so confusing in the first 40 minutes that it made more sense as it went on. But I'm like looking around, I'm like, this is so confusing.
Here's a question: do you see the similarities to Star Wars? Because George Lucas, when writing Star Wars, took a lot of concepts from Dune.
He did, but there is a lot that is very.
He just
different.
improved on it.
I would say that Dune is kind of the granddaddy of all sci-fi. Because the guy that wrote it, Frank Herbert,
it's definitely one of them.
Like you talk about, like, okay, the whole spice thing in Star Wars, but that's literally straight from Dune.
It's like, in terms of just like pioneer like sci-fi. I mean, of course you're gonna have like 2001: A Space Odyssey.
I hate that movie.
Oh, what?
I hate that movie. It's terrible.
Oh, it's so good.
It's horrible.
I love the movie.
I hate that movie with a passion. I can't stand that movie. Stupid. I hate it. I'm sorry.
We're gonna have to do an episode on just like pioneer sci-fi movies, like, or for like our favorite sci-fi movies from like the 60s and 70s.
Star Trek.
Maybe the 80s, because I'm gonna talk about war games.
War game? Do you want to play a game?
I love war games.
I'm just saying that Dune. It was, people kind of talked about it like it's like, this is gonna be our generation Star Wars. I'm like, I
could definitely see it.
I think it's gonna be more close to Lord of the Rings than Star Wars.
I could see it.
Because Star Wars is so
it had a great start. Like, it's not going to be as good of movies as like Lord of the Rings, because
I could see it being good. I can see it being just as good.
I think it's going to be great. But like Lord of the Rings, that's a pretty big it's pretty big shoes to fill.
I saw that they were coming out with Lord of the Rings show on, I think it was Amazon.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that.
I saw that it's going to be 5 seasons. It's going to be Game of Thrones type.
Hopefully it doesn't end like Game of Thrones does.
Did you get to the end of it?
But I've just heard. I just heard.
How close are you to getting done?
I'm season 5, so I got like 4 seasons left. 3 seasons.
You've got season 5.
I think there's 8.
I think there's 7.
7 or 8 seasons, I can't remember.
Like, well, I think you're in the last good season, so.
No, I heard it's pretty much good to the final. There's 8 seasons.
8? I don't know. It's pretty.
Yeah. And so, Gabe, are you gonna ask me what I'm watching?
What are you watching? What have you been watching?
Well, of course, I've been on the Game of Thrones grind, but there's actually a few movies I've watched as of late. I'm just gonna bring them up because I gotta remind I don't want to leave one out.
Oh, I was gonna watch White Men Can't Jump the other day. I just never got to it. That's a sports movie.
So, I just watched 4 comedies since the last time we filmed. I watched the newest Suicide Squad because I just got HBO.
That's
so I'm
good.
like, gotta watch it because now I'm gonna probably start Peacemaker sometime soon. But yeah, Suicide Squad, it was great. It was funny. You can tell it was a James Gunn movie. Wasn't not quite as good as like the Guardians of the Galaxy, but the Suicide Squad, it was pretty good.
John Cena might be the best part in that movie, and King Shark.
I was supposed to say King Shark. King Shark was like my favorite thing.
Bird.
And it was kind of gross too, because I'm like, I'm scared of like rats.
Oh yeah.
And they had a person who just commanded rats. Like the way they killed the frickin' star in the end, like that was like terrifying. Like I was like, if that ever honestly, just shoot me instead.
Oh yeah, Sebastian the Rat.
And then
waves.
Don't flame me for this, but I watched The Hangover for the first time.
I love The Hangover.
It was great.
Yeah, it's hard not to be.
Like I watched like 4 like. I watched a bunch of comedies over the week, and I added 2 to my top 5 list. Like,
is this one of them?
Yeah, The Hangover.
The Hangover might be.
For me, it's not quite as good as Superbad. but it's pretty high.
Superbad is a coming-of-age comedy that gets the coming-of-age right, but The Hangover is just a, what do you do when you're too messed up, man? Like, I don't know.
Great concept.
Outstanding.
I mean, and they got like the perfect actors for it.
And they weren't even that big at the time.
No, you got Bradley Cooper, you got Zach Galifianakis, you got Ed Helms. You have the guy from National Treasure.
Oh,
Riley.
Justin.
Yeah, you got Riley.
Yeah,
whatever his name is.
I can't remember.
And I watched Ted.
I like Ted.
It was pretty funny. That's all I gotta say about it. It's funny. If you want to laugh, just give it a watch.
I like Seth MacFarlane.
Ridiculous concept, but it's kind of funny.
It's
like Winnie the Pooh R-rated version.
Yeah, essentially. It's pretty great.
It's if Winnie the Pooh smoked weed.
Smoked weed and did blow.
I mean,
hookers.
Looking at Winnie the Pooh, he might have been under the. He might have did the Devil's Reaper.
He does have an addiction to honey.
He has an addiction to honey.
He's an addict.
Yeah.
He's an actual addict.
Plus, it kind of gives me that stoner vibe.
What else have you been watching?
And the final one, I watched Blazing Saddles.
Oh, great.
Oh, great. It was.
The first half of that movie's really good. Second half kind of sucks.
I wouldn't say it sucks.
The last act of Blazing Saddles sucks.
Like, Gene Wilder was just great.
It's pretty great.
And then so was Clavon Little. I think that's how you say his name. Like, those two were just great. I mean, like, it was made in the 60s or 70s. And it's just like, they're like, you know what? It might be racist times, but we're gonna make a black sheriff.
Yeah.
And it's just over the top humor.
It's really funny.
Yeah.
Mongo like candy. I love it. It's so quotable.
Oh, boys, over here. Where are the white women at?
Great
favorite
movie.
part of the movie right there.
It's really good. Blazing Saddles, best comedy from the 70s. Not even a hot take.
I'd have to agree, probably. For what I've seen, yeah, I'd have to agree.
Pretty great. I do like that movie.
Plus, like, it was a great, like, song.
I'm trying to think. What was the song at the end?
No, at the beginning.
I don't remember the
They made the theme song from Mel Gibson made it. Or, no, not Mel Gibson. Yeah, Mel Gibson. I don't know it word for word, but it's catchy.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I also watched season 5 of Rick and Morty.
Sweet.
I like Rick and Morty. I'm so cool for liking Rick and Morty.
So my dad actually likes Rick and Morty.
Mine does too.
Like, my brother made him watch it, and I think my dad actually liked it.
My dad is addicted to Rick and Morty. He watches it all the time. He watches the one where they go to the White House and Morty wants to get a selfie with the president. That's his favorite episode.
I always remember when my brother showed my dad the Pickle Rick episode.
Oh yeah, Pickle Rick episode's iconic.
Alrighty, now I'm going to ask you the next question for our next topic. What do you want to watch this week? You have anything you're eyeing?
I started watching this show called Murderville.
Yeah.
And it's Will Arnett, and he's the only one that has the script. And they bring in like an actor, and they have to improv their way through things. And I watched 2 episodes. I haven't watched all of it yet. But the first episode of Conan O'Brien is really funny.
Well, it's Conan, the best talk show host.
Do you know who... Actually, the second episode was even funnier. You know who they had on?
Huh.
Marshawn Lynch. They're like, what do you want your name to be? He's like, Detective Begabitch. He's like, he goes, that way when I make an arrest, I could be like, I begged you, bitch. Like, it's Marshawn. It's hilarious.
Yeah, it's just Marshawn.
Marshawn. He's
Marshawn
like,
being Marshawn.
They're like, what is that? He's like, is that Polish? He's like, no, Oakdale. I'm like, true. I want to watch that. I want to watch Fight Club. They just put on Fight Club on Hulu.
I'm not gonna lie. Can I have a hot take about Fight Club? I thought it was a little overrated.
That's what I've heard.
Definitely a bro movie though.
I want to watch American Psycho.
It's good.
With Patrick Bateman.
It's pretty good.
I'm leaving.
So you're gonna ask me now the question? What do you want?
What do you want to watch?
Well, I just saw Robin Hood Men in Tights was put on a streaming website. I couldn't remember which one it was, but I just saw it was put on, so I know what I'm gonna watch. Have you ever seen Robin Hood Men in Tights?
I have not, no.
It's ridiculous. It's a comedy musical about Robin Hood. And it's freaking hilarious.
I was gonna watch The Princess Bride. I just never got to it. I never got to it.
Yes. And then, for one final one, I really want to go see the new Jackass movie.
Dude, I want to be hammered to watch that movie. I'd be absolutely drunk off my ass. That should be next week's topic. Top 5 drunk movies. Like movies to watch while you're drunk.
Oh, God.
Barnyard smoking on top 4.
See, I want to see the new Jackass movie. I'm kind of intrigued by the new Uncharted movie.
Not doing it for me. Just not doing it for me.
I kind of want to see it.
The Tom Holland hype needs to kind of
die down just a little.
It needs to hit the brakes.
He's a good actor, but like he's kind of getting casted and everything.
I'm praying on his downfall, man.
Why? So you can just continue to goo over Zendaya, even though she'll never know you.
She's kind of overrated. She's a little overrated. She's a little.
What?
Dune hardcore Zendaya baited us.
Yeah, they're like, we're gonna hype up Zendaya in this movie. And she's gonna be in it for like 3 minutes.
She was in the stupid. She was kind of a bitch in that movie too. She's like, well, hope you die. She's like, here's this knife. You can die and it'll be cool.
Then he kills that dude.
Then he kills that guy.
Everyone's like, whoa.
He's like, oh, he's toying with him.
Alrighty, is that all you got today? You got nothing?
I'm trying to think
you
of
have
else.
Like no.
Oh, I know what I'm gonna watch on Friday.
What?
I'm gonna watch Hot Wheels World Race.
What?
You ever seen that movie?
No.
We're gonna watch that today.
No, we're not.
Yup.
It's my choice.
Yeah, and then it's my choice after.
Oh, good Lord. Why?
Have you ever seen that movie?
No, and I don't want to.
Do not knock it until you watch it.
It's a movie based off Hot Wheels. I don't think.
Dude, it actually makes, like, in terms of sci-fi, it's actually a top tier. On IMDb, I think it's like a 7.3.
Really?
It's kind of high, yeah.
Huh. Well, I'll do the sign off then.
Yeah,
because I got nothing else to talk about.
I'm like, I can't believe you're gonna shit on Hot Wheels World Race, a movie you haven't even seen before.
Well, this has been the Prestin Sexton podcast. I'm Preston DeVille, Gabriel Sexton. We're on TikTok now. Gabe made a pretty good, juicy TikTok last week, so
it's on
go
TikTok.
Check it out. Give us a follow. You know, we're on Facebook now too. Freaking rocking the Facebook page.
Are we?
Yeah, we're getting a lot of followers off of there. So yeah, go like the Facebook page. Shoot us a follow. Shout out to the Warp Zone who shouted us out in their last stream, in their last
Warp
live stream.
Zone.
Yeah, it's a local business back in TV.
Oh, okay. All right.
They gave us a little shout out on their live stream, card pack opening. Go like the Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Pretty much go follow all Prestin Sexton Media for news and updates on the podcast.
On us. On life updates.
On our very interesting
Dude,
lives.
if I get a girl pregnant, I am going to post that on there.
That came out of nowhere, but...
I was trying to think of, like, major life announcements I could make to draw people in. I'm like, pregnant!
It's like, guys, Gabe's finally not single, guys.
I'm like, let's go!
He just skipped the relationship announcement and went right into pregnancy.
I'm like, pregnant. They're like, is that true? I'm like, no. I'm like, it's not true. Sorry.
All right, so yeah, this has been the Prestin Sexton podcast. I'm Preston, he's Gabe, and we're signing off.